guys, welcome back. So today guys, it's just gonna be a quick video guys, and I just want to show you how I remove the speakers on my Lipo checker and alarm buzzer. So this is the BX100, and if you have been watching any of my videos, you know I'd like to use these as part of my RC setup, and I have them actually hooked up to the body themselves. So just behind here is my Outcast 8S body, and if I just spin it over, you can just see there guys, I've got my Lipo checker already installed down into the body with a couple of zip ties. And then what I do is I run an extension lead. This is a 30cm 4S Lipo extension lead, and I have this hooked up directly to the balance port on the battery, on one of the batteries, and it just gives me a continuous reading and tells me what my lifespan is like on my batteries when I'm out bashing. So I don't tend to use the smart Lipos. I do try and get good value for money, so I found these really good, and every normal Lipo does have a balance lead, so you can hook up this thing directly to the battery via these terminals at the bottom. So anyway guys, today I did say we are going to be doing a quick video, and just to show you, it's actually a request from a subscriber. I wanted to know how I remove the speakers off one of these. So at the top here you've got a couple of speakers, and when you do hook this thing up, it's really loud, so I will do it once for you. So there you go, makes it a big beep, a couple of beeps just to let you know that the thing is on and it's working. And then when you do hit the alarm, you have this little button at the top, you can set it to whatever level you wish, and once it hits that level guys, the alarm will start going off, and it'll keep on going off until you come back to it and press the button on it. So guys, as I said, I have been using this a lot, and we probably have heard it beep away in some of my previous bashes. I tend to ignore it, but it does get quite annoying. That's why I remove the speakers from the top. So today I'm going to quickly show you how I'm going to do that. So to do this, you just need a cheap soldering iron and possibly just a pair of snips just to hand if you do need them as well guys. And then what I tend to do is, once I've finished with it all, I just use a bit of tape. So in this case it's going to be white because the Lipo checker is white, and I'll just put it along the top where the speakers are, just to give it some kind of protection from the elements. So guys, let me just get everything cleared up and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is open this thing up and remove the board from inside. So you can see I've already gone ahead and started, so there isn't any screws holding this thing together. It's just some clips all the way around, so there's about 4 to 6 clips, I'm not too sure. So we'll just get these open and see exactly. So what I do is I just use a flat screwdriver and I just put it above where the speakers are, just there, and I just prise it around, and once I've done that I can get access to this side, and I'll just do the same, and I'll prise it open all the way around. Just take your time, be careful, because you want this thing just to close back up once you're done. If you do break a few prongs, it's not the end of the world. A bit of glue or a bit of tape will just hold it together. So just lift the screen off. Once the screen's off guys, the board should just come all the way out, and this is what you're left with. So here are your two speakers, and I'll just whip it over, and you can see there guys, there are 4 prongs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 pins are the pins that are powering the speakers guys, and they're held in with a bit of solder. So this is where we're going to be needing our soldering iron. And what I tend to do with the soldering iron guys is just make sure the tip is nice and clean. It just allows for good heat transfer. So if you've got some sandpaper, that will do. If you haven't, I tend to use a file like this here, and I just file the tip down. And you can use the file to make this tip nice and sharp if you're doing some intricate work, or just have it nice and clean. So make sure your soldering iron is nice and clean, and all we're going to do guys is just touch the top of the pins with the soldering iron, make the solder nice and molten, and at the same time we're going to push down on the pin, and it should just push through. And do the same on the second pin guys. So make it nice and molten. Once it is, it should allow us to push it down. You might need to go over it a couple of times just to make sure it's pushed down, and all you're doing is pushing the pins back out. So once you've done that, and you can just see there one speaker is pushed out further than the other one. I'm just going to get my flathead and I'm just going to prise it away, and hopefully it should come away without breaking the board. And sometimes you might get the prongs staying on the board and come out of the speakers themselves, which isn't the end of the world. So there you go, there's one speaker off. And what's happened in this case is the prongs have stayed in situ. You can leave them like that. I don't think it'll do anything. There's no other component around there that is going to spark against or anything like that. But in this case, I'm just going to use my little snips here. I'm just going to snip off the excess. It just makes it nice and safe. So there you go. That's one speaker removed. I'll get the other one removed off camera, guys, and I'll be back with you. Okay, guys, so there you go. I've removed both speakers. So if you can look closely, what you do want to do is, it does look a bit messy. You don't want to be leaving any solder on anywhere. So try and clean up the best you can. But these are the 4 terminals. And this is the underside as well, guys. So this second one came out quite cleanly. See, it's still got this prongs on there. So that wasn't a bad thing. But if they don't come off cleanly, as I said the first time around, I had to use some snips. The prongs were still in there. And as long as you snip as much as you can off it, it should be fine, guys. Then it's just a case of popping it back into its case. So with regards to its case, guys, you can see there's a little section cut out at the top here, and that's for this small button at the top, so you know which way is up. And it's just a case of popping it back in and popping the cover back on. And just squeezing everything too. So that's that back together again, and you can see here there's a big cavity there now. So what I tend to do with that, guys, is use a bit of, so I've got a bit of white tape, and I'll just pop it on the top just to cover that space up. And you should still be able to press the button down. Just make sure you got the button action, and that just covers the top, and it just protects it from any kind of weathering and whatnot, guys. So next, let's go and give it a try. So we bring my battery back in, and when you're connecting this thing back up again, guys, the prongs start from left to right, and the furthest one on the left is your negative terminal, and it's the one that you want to make sure on your balance lead you have a black wire. You want to make sure that that lines up with the first terminal, and then this should just work. And there you go, guys. Before I plugged that in, it was making a beep when it had the speakers on there. There's no beeps there now, and it's just giving me a reading on there. So this is how I remove the speakers off one of these BX100s, and then I use them as part of my RC setup. So I hope you found this video helpful and useful and informative. If you did, make sure you hit the like, and if you haven't already subscribed, give it a go. So guys, until the next time, see you.